Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning. You can call me Shirley. My student number is 199009. Let me start by just saying a few words about our team on background. We are both studying economics and finance in Hong Kong Shuyuan University. We have 3 people in our team, Skylar and Kathy. Their student numbers are 199016 and 199003. Kathy will introduce the features and compare them. The Kathy will summarize and answer the questions. Today's topic is comparing the characteristics of traditional newspapers and online newsblogs. In the newsroom of the media market competition intensifying. In order to win the market competitive advantage, the content and forms of media news transmissions has been improved. The network media and traditional media in the form of fair competition at the same time. Their content and spreading the newsroom are explored and improved. Traditional newspaper is different from the new era of media network media and television media. Due to this inherent traditional advantage, it uses paper and traditional printing methods to spread. Is it a kind of traditional media earlier than the network media and podcast media? So it is called traditional paper media. With the new era of media, network media, and podcast media, collectively known as the 3 major media, it refers to a paper publication which manually publish news and news commentary, usually with lost page printing, not binding, and not cover. Abroad is a present website built on the internet based on set8 technology, whose content is freely determined by an individual, updated in time series and links to other websites. On one of the many blogs is called a blog. So-called news blogs. It usually refers to people who publish news manuals through blog sites and website owners. In 1998, American News Enthusiast Matt broke the story of President Bill Clinton's affair with White House aide Monica Lewinsky on his personal website. The Drug Reporter. The shocking news caught the attention of the Drug Reporter, which gets tens of millions of views a day. Since then, major events such as the September 11 incident and the Indian terrorism event have been reported, and news blogs have received extensive attention from all walks of life and the media. Some people think that blogs are the news media of the future. Newsblog will subvert the existing news medium, completely change the correct news medium point to point. One way, monopolistic dissemination, inevitable. The rhetoric of news communication will be completely changed by newsblog.
Along with the rapid development of modern network information technology, blog has become a very active new network expression. The online news blog is an inevitable outcome of the development of a certain stage. Now, blog with its characteristics of convenience, originality, and interactivity in the wave of new media occupy a seat. Blog news have a certain impact on the traditional media, also gives news reports more resources. Let me compare the features of traditional newspapers and online news blogs through time, space, audience, and experience. First, the online news blogs' timeliness are extremely strong. Compared with newspapers, the timeliness of the Internet is obvious to all. The publishing cycle of paper media is usually measured in days or weeks, while the updating cycle of online news is measured in minutes or even seconds. The transmission cost and speed of the online news blogs transmitted electronically through the Internet are lower and faster than the traditional media transmitted through the traditional substantive carrier. Secondly, the online news blogs are absolutely not limited by the layout and time. They can publish a lot of information on the network and can be at the same time information can be summarized, classified, and formed to understand the full picture of the event and easy to retrieve the database. People's Daily Online, for example, has built up a sizable library of documents for users to search or cite. The online news blogs spread the space regardless of the region. They does not have the boundary, and the space is vast. These are the newspaper and so on. Traditional media leave behind. In addition, in the traditional media news transmission, the audience is often subject to a variety of restrictions, such as the newspaper can only read the above said content. Television broadcast must be in accordance with its scheduled time to watch and listen. However, there are not so many restrictions on the Internet. People can choose freely according to their own interests, and readers no longer passively accept information, but automatically choose information. Finally, compared with traditional news, the online news blogs are more readable and interesting. Compared with the written language of newspapers, the online news blogs are more colloquial in language expression, relaxed and lively, and the many news are humorous, sharp, and highly readable. They can mobilize the enthusiasm of the audience to participate in and design the audience to communicate. Network news is a breakthrough in the traditional concept of news communication, in the sight, hearing, sense to the audience of a new experience. Network news is connected in a hierarchical and networked way. When websites publish network news, they often do not tell the whole story at once, but gradually show the full story at different levels. Newspapers and other print media, when organizing news resources, follow the thinking of two-dimensional space. All contents are displayed in a two-dimensional space, which can be republished, used as links to Related news are used through classification and retrieval.
Okay, now let me make an example to compare the Sohu News and the People's Daily. The Sohu News is an app produced by Sohu. Every official news agencies can publish news on the app. It is the #1 news client in China. It provides the latest news and information 24 hours a day, ensuring the timelines of news. Everyone who knows how to use a smartphone can get the latest information through the new blog. The People's Daily. The People's Daily, known as the world's top 10 newspapers, is updated with a daily publication cycle. Founded more than 60 years ago, it has a long history. The competent unit is the Chinese Party Committee. The content has positive guidance. The People's Daily is an authoritative and serial comprehensive daily. Both its content and language are very rigorous. By comparisons, we can note that news blogs make it easier for us to get information. We can watch the news every time and anywhere, as long as we have a mobile phone. For busy people, it is really convenient to watch the news on a mobile phone. If we want to read the newspapers, we have to go to a convenience shop or go to a newsstand to buy newspapers. But traditional newspapers are much more rigorous than news blogs, which is an important feature of traditional newspapers. And now let me continue to draw a conclusion. Traditional newspapers has been in use for a long time. With the development of technology, news blogs have appeared. A news blog is a person who uses specific software to publish news on the web or website that is usually managed by an individual or posted irregularly. Traditional newspapers and online news blogs have their own characteristics. Firstly, online news blog can deliver information to people more quickly than traditional newspaper. Secondly, online news blog can categorize and summarize a large amount of information into a database. This is the function that traditional newspaper does not have. Thirdly, news blog reach a wider audience than traditional newspaper, and people can choose the information that they like. Finally, traditional newspaper will be more rigorous on their language, while new blogs will be more colloquial. Nowadays, more and more people use news blog. How the traditional newspapers should develop in this era is a question that everyone should think about. Okay, the last part is Q&A. The first question is, what do you think about traditional newspapers and news blog needs to improve? The second question is that, is this era of news medium development, do you think paper medium will still necessary? And the third question is that, how do you think traditional newspapers should develop in this era? And the final question is that, some people say that traditional newspapers can be combined with news media. Do you have any method? Thank you.